What's happening, guys? Peter von Panda out here with my Plymouth Prowler 2001, and I want to show you something here. This is going to be kind of the next project, is that you might be able to see the headlights right there. And if you're pretty eagle-eyed, you might be able to tell a couple of things. First of all, I've got a little bit of fading and, the streaking and yellowing on the lens itself. Now, because this lens is actually fused together with the whole headlight housing, I can't remove this lens and I can't buy them either. So we're gonna have to clean that up. But on the inside, and what you probably can't see here, there is a little moisture inside, and now it's been pretty dry lately, so that moisture is kind of evaporated. But I did see a little condensation building up in there when I bought it. And so what I wanted to do is take the headlights out, take them apart, and then make sure I'm kind of cleaned them out and then put them together and make sure I've sealed the whole thing really well. We're gonna start getting these things off the car so I can take a look at them. So to get this front grille out, there's a little bit of misdirection, kind of some false bolts here. Actually, I mean, they're real bolts, but as you can see here, there's 3 Phillips head screws. That looks like where you remove it. But what I think you want to do is this screw right here that's kind of holding on this whole front bracket, and that screw right there are what you actually want to remove and to kind of take out the whole grille as one piece. And then if you look in here, there are these little arms, and I think you want to remove kind of that innermost Phillips head screw there to kind of remove the arm with the grille. And then there's one on this side as well. As you can see there, a little metal bar. So I think those are the only things I think you have to remove. So I think it's really 4 screws total. Let's try it. Now with the grille removed, and also I've disconnected the battery, we want to take out these little screws right there. And I believe these are Torx bits. And I also believe that they require a T20 bit. So if you don't have one, you should pick one up. Screws out, and I noticed that the piece here, the plastic piece and the tab here is broken. So good thing I've got the piece. This is what it should look like right there. And so if you do have any cracks, it might be a good time to JB weld or super glue them together, kind of make sure that everything's nice and tight. One of the reasons here is trying to make sure that I'm, taking care of all my water leaks, and so any type of breach will be a problem. Now, once you have these screws out, these top covers should just kind of lift right off, and they're going to kind of be a separate piece. So put those aside, and I'll repair mine here. As you're lifting them off here, you'll see that there is this foam gasket here, and mine looks like it's in pretty good shape. It's still in one piece all the way around. So as you pull this off, you just want to make sure you're pretty careful with it, because I'm sure finding these is not going to be an easy task. So then you have 2 bolts holding the whole assembly in on the top, and then there's one more, there's an acorn nut underneath. But to get these out, these are a T30 bit. So you're going to need T25 on the top cover and T30s here to get these out. Let's get them removed. Once you have those screws out, I think the only thing left in terms of screws, and the hardest one to get to, is right here, and it's a little acorn nut, so you'll need a socket to get over it. 7/16 on it, nice and tight, so I'm going to give this one a shot first. All right, here's the little acorn nut underneath the headlight that I think that needs to come out here. And now that we've got that out, I can definitely tell it's a little loose. And the instructions say after the front grill's removed, you lift it up to get it off a stud, apparently, and then you pull it forward. So I'm going to kind of lift this up, kind of feel it hanging on something, and then we will try pulling it forward. Now, what's interesting here, and the manual didn't say it, but if you can kind of see right down in the bottom, in the back there, this might be really hard to see, but there appears to be another screw. So you might be able to see that a little better. I've got the screwdriver right there. There's a little bolt there holding down a tab, and all you have to do is actually, as far as I know, just loosen that a little bit so you can get the headlight out. Now, in order to do that, obviously, you can see what I had to do here is I loosened the whole top of this front fender and to get access to that bolt. So that was kind of a pain. These are just 3 10mm bolts here. One thing I will point out is that there are shims everywhere. So in terms of getting, things lined up and spaced up, that's what they did. They shimmed a lot of stuff. So now hopefully we can just loosen up that screw there and get the headlight out. I can tell you about this little bolt here. Also, it's a T30. It's not a T25. So make sure you have T30, and then you can just loosen it up a couple cranks. Loosen up enough to get the tab out. As you can see, I just removed the whole panel. It just actually lifts out of these clips right there. And since I'll have to tighten that back down when I install it back anyway, I'll just leave this panel off for now. You can also see the headlight cable that comes out from the headlight assembly. Right under there, there's a little connector, so you're going to need to disconnect the headlights before you pull the whole thing out. So there it is, guys. Getting the headlights out is definitely an afternoon job, but it's not necessarily a bauble. Now, if you're curious, this is what the headlights look like, disassembled and removed from the car. To fully disassemble them, looks like you've got a couple more of these smaller. The screws holding the housing in from this side are quite a bit smaller than the T20. I think these are T10s. Forks heads, I think, that you need to remove here all along the bottom, and then this looks like the whole assembly will come apart. Now, you know, I'm just looking here, and as you can see, the gasket is coming out a little bit. I feel like I don't see anything that's really obvious where I'd be getting water intrusion, but I'm going to take it apart anyway and just use some silicone sealant to kind of reinforce all of these gaskets. Give the interior here a chance to dry out if you want to see what it looks like. It's kind of interesting. The silver reflector looks like it's all plastic housing, and then with a like kind of a chrome-like finish. And then as you can see here, we've got the headlights, the 9005 bulbs screwed in, projectors, and there's quite a bit of space between the lens and the headlight itself, and then the high beam over here. Same bulb, I think, on both of those, and the connector that comes off this end here. So I'm going to pull it apart, just kind of clean it out, seal it up, and then we'll work on, as you can see here, the outside of the plastic, all that oxidation on there, see what we can do about that. And then reassemble. So that's it. That's taking it apart and working on your Plymouth Prowler. Peter Von Panda out.